Hello there, everyone. How are you doing? Hopefully well. Um, yep, here we go again. Another wonderful month, this time for the month of February, where I have a wonderful new announcement for everyone. And that is a brand new channel sponsor. That's right. Somehow we have another channel sponsor. I know. It's wonderful, isn't it? I'm very happy about it. I'm very grateful for it. It is a wonderful company that sells wonderful intrusive shirts called Intrusive Designs. For today, you can use coupon code /AGCast to get 10% off your wonderful order. They have wonderful shirts like this one right over here. This wonderful certified pipe fitter one. This is a beautiful shirt as well as this chloroform shirt. Looks wonderful to me. I wouldn't mind owning one myself. In fact, I might very well buy one.
Please be patient. I have a gun.
Oh, yes, I like the Please Be Patient, Have a Gun one. That one is also very good. These are all wonderful shirts. And I think today, too, what is it? Right now, there's also a special launch promo code. Let me make sure I have that right now up for everyone and see if I can pronounce it right. But it's something along the lines of, what was that, Juneteenth, Christmas Day, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Black History Month, Happy Chinese New Year for 15% off. Something like that. I don't remember exactly. Actually, no, I'm not going to include that one because we should be using coupon code /AGCast. But yes, everyone, this is a wonderful new site, a wonderful place that sells wonderful shirts called Intrusive Shirts. They will be a channel sponsor for right now. And to our other wonderful channel sponsor, that's right, you know him and you love him, Aho Patchworks, with today and today only. Actually, it's not today only. But you can use coupon code /AGCast as well over there and get 5% off of your wonderful patch order. But aside from that, let's go on to the next one. Let's go on to the first show. How have you been doing, Uberclay? How are you doing?
Man, I've been doing great. As always, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. And we've got some great stuff to talk about today. And, happy to hear you got a new sponsor, man. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm also just as shocked, too. I'm very happy about it as well. Be sure to use that code, everyone. Be sure to make me proud. So be sure to take pictures of those shirts, wear those shirts. It's a wonderful company. We should show everyone our wonderful love, how much we all love the sponsor. What was I going with that? I guess, aside from that, let's just go take a look. Let's keep things on track and in line now that we're a professional and serious show now with real sponsors. What is the first beta of the week or first beta of the month?
Okay, so the first beta we're going to talk about is the ImmortalRevolt feed cone jig. As some of you guys might be familiar with ImmortalRevolt, he is quickly becoming the jig master, or quite the jigger, as you might say. But he's coming up with a lot of different innovative concepts to make some of this DIY machining easier by using printable jigs with simple power tools like a hand drill or something like that. So there's two betas. The first one that we're going to talk about is this feed cone jig that are related to a forthcoming release, which is the Rebel 9. But this is something that he came up with that actually helps DIY machine the feed ramp to a barrel, or a DIY barrel, I should say. So what we did, we opened a beta for it so that we could, put it through its testing paces, and it's going to be included in this forthcoming release that should be dropping any day, and it may even have dropped by the time this recording airs. But it allows you to take an FGC 9 barrel or any 9mm DIY barrel and put it up in a jig and use a countersink bit in order to machine a feed ramp in the inside of the barrel.
Oh, okay, so would this help with like reliability even for like an FGC 9?
Yes, absolutely. And I think most of the barrels that you're buying pre-made probably have this already. But if you've got one that you've made, or you have one that doesn't have a very good feed ramp, this absolutely will increase the reliability of the feed. And it's a printable jig, and it requires nothing more than a hand drill and a chamfer bit, which you can order off Amazon.
Interesting. Okay, I might want to give that a shot then. So I guess basically just uses normal ECM material that we're getting, and all I'm just doing is I'm just printing out a jig and then machining it on my own, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's really kind of what we've seen. I think has been one of the more innovative developments over the last year. Is we've seen the ability to make these jigs to assist in the accuracy and repeatability of the DIY operations. Really explode. I'm sure that we're going to get some more of them, and they're going to be more refined in the future. But this allows the process to be a lot more reliable, a lot more repeatable, and it takes out a lot of the guesswork. So, I got to give him kudos. He's put a lot of time and effort into this, and it's worked out well.
No, yeah, and I mean, this seems like a rather simple one to do, especially if you already have an ECM like barrel, which I do have, and I might as well give this a shot, because every now and then I do wonder like what I could possibly do to make it a little bit better. I remember right around when the ECM 2.0 stuff was happening, that was whenever I even realized the importance of using like a polishing hone brush, that
Yes.
for an ECM like setup, there are ways to get better reliability. If I remember correctly, there was one of the aspects of like the chamber. You're not actually making it a straight wall chamber. You're kind of like adding a little bit of a taper to it.
Yep.
And that kind of helps a little bit with reliability. But there's also it's also kind of rough because you're using salt water. You aren't really machining it. And that's where a nice little polishing hone brush kind of comes into play. And that is really nice to have.
No, absolutely.
It definitely helps a lot with reliability. So I'm wondering, how much extra, and like it definitely did help a lot with like ejection. So I'm wondering how much this helps with like feeding and everything. So this is a nice little upgrade for sure. A nice little advancement.
It is something you can freehand, but the problem is that when you freehand something like this, if you're not really, really careful, you can end up doing more harm than good. So with the printed jig, it just helps you keep everything square, and you take off the same amount of material all the way around the inside, so you don't end up with something that's going to cause you more problems down the road.
No, yeah, it looks interesting. I mean, I might give it a shot whenever this continues going through. I might give this a shot just because whatever I can do to help the reliability of my CM barrel. But this is kind of cool, I guess. But I don't really know what else we can add to this one besides this is pretty nice. But it's just basically an ECM barrel with, I guess, the jig for the feed ramp, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So I'm guessing
so
it's a bit cheaper than a normal barrel. But go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that the next one that we have to talk about is kind of adjacent to this, because it is also a beta that is based or predicated upon this imminent release. It's an FTN3 beta for a basically a suppressor design that is part of Rebel 9 project. And so this one we kind of threw this together to get some people in to do some longevity testing on this. When the Rebel 9 package drops and you're able to take a look at it, you'll see. But it's similar to the Rogue, where it has a version of it that's able to be suppressed, by nature. And I think it's actually probably a permanent, like an integrally. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. I can't talk right now, but that it is a part of the barrel design. So our friends in the United States, if you want to make sure you follow all local laws, but if you go get a Form 1, this is a pretty nifty thing to have.
Okay, so I'm looking at this. It looks kind of like it goes all the way to like the base of the barrel, and I'm guessing you kind of like drill some holes inside.
It's got some port. It does. It has some portholes in probably a 2 inches up from the end of the barrel.
Right, and then I'm not sure what's holding the actual barrel in place. It looks like set screws, but I don't think that's what those are. I'm not.
I think it has some kind. I think it's got some kind of a collar, but I don't know. I'd have to ask or Immortal, or I have to look at the docs. But they've been making good progress. I've actually cleared this and set it up for release. And so if you have seen the Rogue, the documentation is fantastic. It's very exhaustive. I mean, anybody can build one of these anywhere in the world, and it's a great project. So the difference between I guess I should say that the main difference between the Rogue 9, which is already released, and the Rebel 9, which is soon to be released, is the variance in magazine. The Rogue 9 is primarily based off Glock magazines. The Rebel 9 is based off MP5 magazines, and there are several printable solutions there, but it required more modification to the receivers than what could be included in the original release of the Rogue 9. So it really just became its own entity. There's some other small differences there, but the parts, a lot of the parts are not compatible. So that should be dropping soon. And for everyone who hates clock mags and doesn't want to deal with them, this is going to be the release for you, because it bypasses that, gives another another option.
A very specific subset of people, I suppose. But yeah, I know who you mean.
Yes.
But no, yeah, it looks kind of like a normal FNT. I guess we'll wait for that one to release before we talk too much about that one. But yeah, I guess if anything, this looks kind of like the normal FNT. I'm guessing, is that a aluminum sleeve over the suppressor?
Yes. So
how's it looking?
Right, similar to the Rogue. The Rebel 9, and it's very ingenious. He has designed that to fit inside of a L'Oreal hair mousse can. So you go buy a can of L'Oreal hair mousse, empty it out, and then cut the ends off, and you have a really nice, dandy aluminum lightweight suppressor cover.
Interesting. Okay. And does it kind of have the overhang on it too, or is that just CAD?
Yes. No, the boost can doesn't go all the way down. It stops short of the end, and then the carbon fiber tube
that's what I was
extends out
about.
past that.
Okay, that's what I was talking about. Was so like how much of the carbon fiber tube is that all printed then?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's printed and wrapped, I think, but printed and wrapped and then stuck in an aluminum mousse tube.
Okay.
It's a little bit of post processing there. However, it's ingenious, man, and it's very durable. I think I've seen some videos of these being test fired, and it's very effective, very slick.
I like it. It looks interesting for sure. Especially, I like the idea of using the mousse can. It's very interesting for sure.
I know.
I guess no, yeah. This is an interesting. I'm more interested in like how it stays attached to the barrel.
Right.
Because that just seems really interesting. Because I see what looks like almost like two screws, screws holding it in place, which is interesting. I'm curious to see how this holds up. I'm guessing it does work. I'm just curious on where and how. Do you drill a little hole in the mousse can, or is it before you put the mousse can in? I'm kind of curious.
Right. I'd have to refer back to the docs. I did go through it. I don't know. To tell you the truth, I can't recall exactly what the attachment apparatus is there, but everything Immortal does is pretty solid, man.
I agree.
He puts a lot of time and energy into these, and I was skeptical at first, but I got to tell you, man, I'm a true believer now. It's very ingenious. Some of this stuff is what he's got going on. So I challenge anyone to find this and the Urutau. I really don't think there's anything that surpasses these projects in the DIY capacity. It's they're fantastic.
No, yeah, and by far, I mean, I'm curious to see. I'm looking forward to the full release for everything then. But this is going to be. I like the suppressor stuff. Suppressors are fun. Suppressors are cool. A nice integrally done suppressor could be pretty cool also. So I'm kind of curious on how this plays out. I wish I could test this myself without having to do all the annoying draconian paperwork, but alas, I have a future, so I'm not going to just go completely far ahead of that. But I look forward to seeing how this holds up for everyone else, because this is by far one of the cooler ones. I like the idea of integrally suppressed type of design, but it's a shame I don't really have the capabilities of manufacturing one myself right now. But I guess let's go on to the next one, then.
All right. Our next one here is we've got what's called the QBar by Gundamed. The QBar is a U-bar lower that has been remixed to take the Desert Tech Q-Mags. So the Desert Tech Q-Mags do not conform to the AR-15 magazine standard that you're used to seeing. They're like twice as wide. So they're, it's basically like the coffin mag where they're quad stack or something. And the lowers are pretty expensive, is what Gundamed was telling me. They're like $300+. So he took a U-bar and basically redid the front end of it so it would take the Q mags. And Q mags aren't cheap either, but if you want to run Q mags, this is a great printable option for you. So it's called the QBar.
You know, there's a lot of things I can bring up about this one. I know Spooky had originally worked on trying to make a Quadro mag for a while before this release,
Yes.
and came into several design issues with it on his own.
It's tougher than you think, man. It is. I mean, I have one. I tried to reverse engineer it as well, and I haven't given up on it. But I had to put it. I had to put it on the back burner.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's like he kind of put it on the back burner for a while for that one, and I know he was going to work on a Firebolt that could hold it too, because of that exact reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's by far it is a good way, I guess. Like, it's better than the coffin mags for sure. I think I've seen some videos of these shoot. They're more reliable than the coffin mags, but they are still pretty bulky. I'm not really sure what use case I would have for it. I don't have enough 556 to even really justify like buying Quadros really. And God for sure, no, I don't have like the land or cool things to shoot at that would really warrant me to like burn this much ammo for a range.
That is the one piece of this that's missing. I probably need to get back on that, because if we had printable Q mags, that would really seal the deal. You know what I mean? You could run the slower and then print your Q mags, and
I mean,
everybody run around with 60 round coffin mags or whatever.
Like, it's a cool concept specifically of like, okay, I guess every AR upper could fit in this lower, but it's also like unless you have an adapter that could like make it take normal AR mags, which I think the original does. I think the Quadro lower does. I mean, you're buying a Quadro lower though. Do you really want to run normal AR mags in it? Like, it's gonna be goofy. It's gonna be silly. It's not gonna work well. This to me makes more sense as like a 3D printed lower, 100%.
No, it's very specific. This is going to appeal to a very specific range of people right now, anyways. But
it is an extremely specific use case. Is what this is for. It is basically. I don't think there's a question about this. This is just a normal AR. This is just a normal U-bar lower, but with an extended mag.
Yes. Yeah. Use a specialized magazine. That's correct.
I think it uses any upper still, right?
Yeah. I believe so. It should be relatively standard as far as the uppers you can put on it. But I don't know if anybody out there's got likes to run these mags or what. I have.
Are there enough people to use this mag?
I know. Well, it is relatively rare. So I think if we had a printable one, it would swing the needle. But
100%.
Right now we don't.
100%, because like this, I mean, what is, I guess, really the use case for like a 60 round magazine like this? I guess, is it lighter than the coffin? It's definitely smaller than the coffin mags, that's for sure. Like, they are shorter. Right. They are a lot thicker though. What is like the actual benefit of running this over? Like,
I mean, they just smaller profile maybe with more capacity.
I know the beta mags, those are like 100 rounds, right?
I could not tell you. I do not know enough about them.
I don't own any of them either, so I couldn't tell you any information about them. I think they're 100 rounds because that's what it's most video games, but actually I don't know. I mean, like, the Magpul one's D50, right?
Okay.
I think it's 50 rounds. I think. So, like, I mean, compared to like a Magpul drum mag, I guess this is smaller. It is smaller and a little bit. It's not going to fit in your normal mag pouch. Just be real about that either. It's a little bit thicker. No. I don't think it's going to fit in that.
No, it's not.
Maybe like a grenade. Oh, nah, but is it really any better? I've always. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I like this idea because shooting a lot of ammo is a lot of fun, but also I don't have the ammo to like justify this.
I was going to say it gets expensive quick, doesn't it?
Like. The only things I think that would really matter for this too is like, is it also super safe compatible? And like, can I do other things with it? Because like, those are the one thing, like the few things I think that would actually like flip the needle for me on this. But also, then I
Yes.
come down to this inevitable issue where I don't have the ammunition to like justify this as a purchase anyways. Like, what am I gonna do? Fill one mag for a range day, and then well, you look at that. I just finished the one mag. All right, that was fun. All right, time to go home. That was a fun 10 minutes.
True.
But yeah, no, I'm guessing. So this is just a U-bar. So U-bar 9 rules still apply. You need the I-bar kit. Normal AR-15 lower U-bar.
Yep.
I see the picture you've given me. If I were to make an accurate assessment, this looks like a 2-stage nickel boron trigger from Palmetto State Armory. The buffer looks like
Yeah.
a long.
He's got the retainer is either missing or down.
Right.
That buffer should be captured, but
yeah,
it's
it
not.
should be captured. That's not even the part that I was getting mystified by. I was looking at the long buffer, the A2 buffer, not H2, the A2 one. Like the long stock.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an A2 buffer too, so it's like a lot of interesting things going on with this design. This man is it's a very unique setup this person has, but I guess it is a U-bar after all, so you can kind of get away with a lot of things.
Oh yeah, I love U-bar is one of my favorite go-to designs for an AR-15 lower. I mean, I've got several monopolys and everything, but I'm really partial to U-bar. They're just it's very elegant and simple, easy to print, very forgiving. It's really one of my favorites.
I want to see this thing just with the bag in it and upper attached to, because I wonder how goofy it looks because of how thick it's on the bottom.
It's a fat boy.
That and like also, I wonder how easy it is to like reach the detents on that. I guess it's not too different from like normal printed lowers, but like,
right,
that's a lot of space. But like again, whatever. I haven't handled a quadro lower specifically, so I couldn't tell you how different this is like from the actual experience. The issues I see with this are not this design mistake. It's more of just the quadro itself. Of like, well, how else are you going to shove a 60 round magazine in there? I guess make it really
right.
I'm sure. Go ahead.
I have one of the. I can't remember who makes it, but I have a 60 round that is a quad stack, but it tapers down to a double stack, so it'll still fit in your standard profile. But they're expensive and
Long.
Probably unnecessary. Yeah, and definitely heavy. So fully loaded. I loaded it full the first time the other day, and it was like, shit. Definitely got some weight to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think this one's supposed to be more reliable than all the other ones, which it better be. But like. Okay. Yeah, there's not really too much else we could say besides this. Is a U-bar 9 that takes a really funny, cool, goofy magazine that I would love if I had more ammo.
Yeah, if you got Q mags, man, this is the one for you.
Pretty much, actually, yeah, this is 100% for you. I'm wondering how many people that is right now, but if I could buy the magazines for relatively cheap, I mean, why not? I guess.
Right.
Because again, it does work. I think with every AR upper, I'm going to just make that bold assumption.
It probably does.
I mean, Bear Creek's might be a little bit of a fun one, but that might be a Bear Creek issue itself. Aside from that, yeah, I guess not too much else besides this. It's a U-bar that has a cool quadro lower. That's about all I guess I got for it. What about the next one?
So I'm really excited to talk about this. This is a milestone moment. This next beta is called TheRyno. The TheRyno is a print in place 22 caliber pistol that's minimalistic, requires no assembly, and it's gonna be a game changer. There are two variants. There's a single shot and a 6-shot revolver. What I gave you was a picture of the 6-shot revolver. This thing is fully printed, barrel, cylinder, everything, and only uses a blunted screw as a firing pin. And all the internals, fire control group, and everything is all part of the print in place assembly. So it's basically like a down and dirty lemon squeezer. So we've had lots of success with shorts and nail gun blanks for our listeners that may not be in the United States and not have access to regular ammo. Right now, what we're engineering around are the stresses involved with 22 long rifle. 22 long rifle, we've got some initial successes, but not a lot of longevity. So, right now the design is undergoing some tweaks to try to see how much longevity we can get out of 22 long rifle. The original dev was really trying to keep it with absolutely no metal, or at least, as far as the cylinder and the barrel. I recently took a cylinder and sleeved a cylinder in brass, and was able to get a little over 30 rounds out of a cylinder before it failed, with a printed barrel, with a printed rifled barrel that was monolithic part of the frame. So if you think about it, you're basically, even if it's a single shot and it's a one-time use, you've got and it prints in, like, I don't know, 2 hours. You print this thing in 2 hours, you pop a screw in it, and you can, it's a single shot, one and done. If you put a liner in it or you put a sleeve in it, then, you could predictably, maybe you could get 20, 30 rounds out of it. So this is a pretty exciting little development. It's in a really small, super concealable. Obviously, all of us in the United States are adding metal to be compliant with the UFA, for all our Fed boys listening. However, this just goes to show you kind of how far, and all I've been testing is PLA plus. I mean, there's no telling what you could do with nylon. If you printed this bad boy in nylon, I'm sure you could, you go even further with it. But for now, what we're doing is we're producing benchmarks in PLA plus, and it's created quite a splash, and understandably so.
I'm looking at it right now. So this already looks really cool. Okay. So let me just try to think of a couple of things then. So, like, compared to, I guess, well, this looks closer to what I would imagine is a harlot in a way. So
Sure.
there's a single shot and a 6-shot variant. I'm trying to remember. There was another revolver for a while. It was like the Maverick, or it was one of those.
Well,
there was a couple of them that was like, I think it was the Maverick, right? It was the Maverick 22.
yeah, there's a handful of 22s out there. There was like the Yeet 22 and the COVID 22,
Well,
the Songbird.
I think it's the Maverick 22. That was it was the one that was like a 22 revolver, but I think it used 22 short. That was what I remember, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So that answers that question of, can it handle long rifle or can it handle short? It sounds like short would probably be the safer bet out of all of them.
Yeah. Right now, unreinforced, there's no problem for shorts. Now, and limited 22 long rifle. Reinforced, I think you're going to get a little bit further down the road. But again, when you print this thing, it prints in place, and there's no assembly required. You just pop it off the print bed. You can. We've toyed around with having extra cylinders like magazines, so you can shoot a cylinder, pop it out, pop a new cylinder in, and you're good to go. So it isn't necessarily fun to shoot, like, as far as, like, the ergos are a little bit functional over comfort. However, what it is it's something that can be printed anywhere in the world and relatively quickly, for a very short-lived kind of personal defense weapon.
The barrel sleeve. You're saying you use brass, I think?
Yeah, I did not sleeve the barrel. I sleeved the cylinder only.
Okay.
For chamber pressure.
Okay. So I guess
Barrel is fully plastic.
So I do have one question in that case, then, I guess, is, let's just say failure-wise, of what's the worst-case scenario that would happen if I put a 22 LR on here? Is it going to blow up my hands like a Liberator would?
No. Well, I say no. I had a failure. I had one of my first cylinder failures last night, and I was wearing a relatively mid pair of gloves, and I was fine. The cylinder ruptured, and it kind of rapidly deconstructed, so to speak, but it didn't hurt me in any way. Now, I'm not going to say that that's, obviously you don't, that is the outcome you want to avoid, but that's also after 30 rounds. Like I put all kinds of rounds through that cylinder before it failed.
Was it 22 LR
And
too, or just normal?
yes, 30 rounds of 22 LR, and no telling how many shorts. I probably put 40 shorts through it or something. So,
well, that's a relief to hear, because again, like that's my for a lot of the fully printed designs, that's always been my worry for a lot of them, is that you might put a little bit too spicy of a round, or it could just be like a liberator, and one in every like 4 shots out of like an old like original liberator could possibly just blow up. That's just a possibility. It's just one of those things. The original liberator was never it was never a good option.
Right. Our goal with this project is to have multiple variants. Like we want to have a variant that stays true to the dev's original design, which is straight off the printer, nothing added. You put the screw in it for a firing pin, and you go. And that version is probably best suited to be shorts or nail gun blanks with air gun pellets or something. The next version is going to be something that will be reinforced with sleeves or liners. Haven't really settled on what we're going to do there, but I think if we can sleeve the cylinder, reinforce the cylinder, and leave the barrel plastic, then that's what we'll do. And then there may even be a third remix, which is like the Gucci remix. That's all reinforced with like real liners with real chambers, and it's you have to you can't build it unless you live in America, but you could get all that stuff and put it in, and then you have something that lasts forever. So this is going to have a couple of different permutations when it comes out.
Well, I mean, I could see a good reason why you'd want it to. I mean, again, like the whole idea of the Liberator not blowing up on you is a big deal for me. So I like this a lot already because of that reason.
Yep,
it could not blow up on me, which is good. I've never. I don't really ever plan on printing these just because I just don't see a real good reason to, especially with the liability with it. Again, I guess for like that one and done like single shot, that's really all I would care about. I mean, the revolver is cool and all, I guess, for like those who would need that extra thing. And for me, it'd just be more of like I think like a single shot would be the one I'd be comfortable with. I'm like, okay, it worked, cool, and never touching it again.
Carry like 5 of them around in your pocket. They're really small.
Like
I mean, it'd be like like a bunch of little single shot Derringers.
Yeah, no, that would be one of the things. And then I guess how much can we turn this into like a buyback gun as well? Can that one single shot one just be like and at that point too, it's like, does it actually really need to fire properly? Of course not. So like, could you just optimize it in a way where like,
yes,
yeah, no,
I could a $1 worth of filament and 2 hours of print time.
Oh,
and you got a $50 gift card or whatever it is these days.
100%. Like, how can we optimize this to be printed as soon and as quickly as possible with as little support and as little filament as possible? Like
these all print with no supports. By the way, they have built-in supports in the model that break away. So you print them with absolutely no supports. They print with the breakaway supports already added, and then you pick it off the print bed and you crack the hinge and you crack the fire control group and it closes and you're ready to go. I mean, literally, there's nothing to put together other than you put the cylinder in the gun, load the cylinder, and then put a freaking screw in it.
Now, are those rear sights like almost hammer, or is it like a hammer?
Yeah. It's a latch. It's a sight that's incorporated with the latch. This gun is not meant to really. I mean, if you're using the sights on this, I think you're missing the point. This gun is mainly for contact distance. So I think the sights would be highly optional and highly, in most cases, not necessary.
The sights aren't really sights; they're just more of a clip for the cylinder. I see what you mean. Yes. The trigger looks interesting. Yeah, I guess, is there a rubber band holding it, or like?
No, it's a ring because the reset is you pushing the trigger forward. with your finger. So, there's a flap that holds the screw, and what happens is as you pull the trigger back, it pulls the flap back, and then eventually it comes off of the trigger bar and springs forward, and that's what hits the primer and ignites the round. And then in order to reset it, you push the ring forward with your finger, and that rotates the cylinder and then resets it for the next round. It's really ingenious.
So if I'm getting this all right, then so obviously this would work with nail blanks, which is honestly probably the more interesting development for this one out of all of them, I would say.
Yes.
Aside from that, it uses no other components besides just a screw.
Correct.
So everything else is printed on this, including the barrel. No barrel liner. Of course, if you're an American, you want to follow your local laws. You got to add whatever, like a couple like nuts, I'm guessing, in the grip or something to add the weight.
Yeah, the UFA states you need what the fuck is it? 105 grams or something like that of metal. Thanks, Reagan.
Yeah.
In order for it to be compliant. So, but I will tell you, interestingly enough, depending on your ammo, if it's brass or whatever, and you were like a bad boy and you weren't worried about compliance, this thing might be kind of hard to pick up on a metal detector.
For that one specific use case, for that one very specific job, I suppose this could help you out.
Might find its way in. It could, if you're, be something to kind of think about if you really wanted to, if you're in a country and had a situation where, you were trying to give yourself a self-defense weapon. It'd be hard to pick up with standard detection techniques.
No, yeah.
So,
I will say, I mean, this one's by far, I think, the most interesting out of all of them because the implications of this one. This one looks...
Yes.
I mean, it's a revolver, so you got 6 shots to it, too. Again, with long, or 22, like, short, probably, yeah, I would imagine just be running perfectly fine. And then with 22 long, that's the one that's more interesting for me. But then again, like, I feel like the barrel blank or the nail blanks are probably the better bet for this one. I don't know why.
I know our guys live across the, across the pond. That's what's going to probably make it interesting for them. So there's some people working on that and, kind of vetting that out right now. But
to avoid more strikes, almost a whole... to avoid more strikes, just leave it there at that. And
yeah, there you go.
And we can, but yes, it seems like this is a very well put design, and yes, this is exactly what you're thinking of. All right, I guess we could go to the releases then next, right?
Yeah, we've got 2 like fire ass releases for February. They're super cool. We got the super safety system. It's the SSSzar V3. So it's the SSSzar V3 with like a drop-in cassette trigger with a super safety and a reset bar. So it allows you to basically have a forced reset trigger on a VZ 65 or whatever, and it's brilliant. Just a brilliant lower. So that dropped. If you got one of those, you really want to look at this. If you've got a ZAR, an OG ZAR, and a ZAR, like a catalog ZAR from way back in the day, this is something you might want to check out because it allows you to put a super safety in it and run it for, rapid ammo depletion, for lack of a better word.
Destroy 32 ACP with one simple trick, yeah.
Yeah, it's another very expensive mod, a very expensive pastime, but I don't have one of these, but I've seen quite a few videos of them, and it's pretty fun. Straight up bullet hose. So that's cool.
No,
that dropped. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, this is a fun one. I mean, like again, I never really too much into SSSzar stuff. I have a friend of mine who has one, and they're very fun guns. The only issue was, again, 32 ACP is just my problem with it. But I think we already talked about this with them before. It's a super safety mod. Seems to be working great. I'm glad it's released. I'm not going to enjoy it as much as some of you will, but hopefully the ones that can enjoy it will hopefully enjoy it.
Yeah, and remember, guys, super safeties are not machine guns, but they're really controversial in today's climate. You want to be careful. I made sure that the legal letter and the super safety order of operations were included in this release from Hoffman. But still, because of the controversy surrounding this, if you decide that you're going to make one of these, you just want to exercise some caution. In no way is it a machine gun, but there's places and people out there, they're not really concerned about whether it's defined as the law defines it or not. So just keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah, no, and again, with super safeties they're technically also not FRTs. Remember that as well, because that's cease and desist letter.
Yes,
But
they're not FRTs. That's correct.
But I guess let's go on to the next one then. What else we got next?
Yep. The second release for February is by 3D Arms. It's the Apple Fritter, which is the follow-up to the Apple Pi, which came out, I don't know, a year or so ago. So the Apple Fritter is a pump-action AR-15, but the difference between it and the Apple Pi is that now they're supporting all the different shorty barrel lengths. So where you had the Apple Pi, which required, I think, a 16-inch or longer barrel, you can now run the Apple Fritter, which supports, all the short-barreled AR variants. So
I got to shoot one of these suppressed 300 blackout, and they are very fun. I will say they are neat. They are pump action AR style, I guess, thingies. They're a couple. I would best describe them as a doohickey. I think they got a weird bolt too, right? It's not like a normal bolt.
Oh, printed carrier, baby.
It's a printed carrier that uses, I think, the metal locking lugs of a normal AR barrel, right?
Well, yeah, they pull the bolt out of a normal bolt carrier group and put it in a printed carrier.
Right.
So it's similar like what we were doing with the VC15. And there is, when if you check the release out, check out the step file. I mean, they've made provisions for every conceivable caliber that you didn't think about. I mean, there's 20 variations of this.
And luckily for 300 blackout, it's very, very similar to AR-15, 5.56, which a mistake that is almost too similar to some extent. But when I shot one 300 blackout suppressed, it was very quiet, as you would expect. You didn't need to have hearing protection on. It was hearing safe because there is no semi-auto bolt cycling action that's too loud. It is a pump action AR-15, I guess, is the best way I can describe it. Of course, you could just, you could use a 5.56 one. I feel like the suppressed one is one of those where it's like, this makes actually perfect sense. Throw a 3D printed suppressor on here, a nice 300 blackout bolt carrier. This would be a perfect thing, but of course, it's one of those fun designs where I can think of a good use case for it now, but I need, of course, the local laws hold me back from doing anything because I would need to do another Form 1 because my Form 1 is only for 5.56 CAD, so I can't do a 300 blackout one. God forbid, I would just swap over a tax stamp like that. That would be against the rules. I would never do that.
Right. No, it would be beautiful suppressed. That is a huge, that is a great focus for this build would be to have a bolt action and then throw a can on it. It's perfect.
All the gas has to vent from the barrel, which means it has to go straight through the suppressor, which is really, really nice. That's how you can get those bolt action like rifles to be super quiet, especially for hunting, I guess. That would be, maybe the next step would be, could you make this into a hunting rifle?
But, a 458 SOCOM, man, with a can and a bolt in a pump action like that. I mean,
that could actually justify a reason for me to do it.
Yes, that'd be badass. Just, that'd be very badass.
But I guess aside from that, now I guess those are our final ones, right?
They are. That's all we got for this week, or this month, actually.
No, yeah, and it's definitely an interesting month. Now that my strikes are gone, we are safe and in the clear. I should probably now figure out what to do in the meantime. I'm still surprised we're able to survive this long. Thank God we were able to survive this long. Our strikes are gone. We're free and we're safe now. Might do some streams in the meantime. I'm glad we were able to also get a nice new channel sponsor. That's wonderful and great. The wonderful channel sponsor. I'm so proud to have them. I'm very glad they are here. And be sure to go check out wonderful Intrusive Designs. Of course, don't forget about our other channel sponsor, Aho Patrick's great channel too. Be sure to stop by there. But no, yeah, it's a great couple times. Definitely some interesting designs this month. I really do like the Rhino one more. Not Rhino, Rhino. What was it called again?
Yeah, no, it's the Rhino.
Rhino.
He spells it with a Y, but the implications, like you say, this is going to be a little bit of a game changer, and I'm excited to be a part of it. Keep your eyes on this one, guys. It's going to be. It made a splash when it went into beta, and it's really going to make a splash when it releases.
I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, no, aside from that, I'm going to see if we could do it. Let me see if we can get the year in review thing now, although it's
nice.
As time has progressed and now I've lost my strikes, it makes perfect sense now to do it, but also it's like, man, this should have been done in January. But, well, I didn't make the rules. I have to blame YouTube for it. So, aside from that, thank you for stopping by. Go buy everything from our channel sponsors. Be sure to show some love from our first channel sponsor. Be sure to let them know I sent you. And yeah, I guess see you guys soon, I guess.